What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ and we are locked in. This is Ozark Season 4, Part 2. So technically this is Episode 8, but it's Part 1 of Part 2. Now this is for all the marbles, because the series is over after these last 7 episodes. So everything that Marty's worked for, we're going to see if it pans out for him throughout this last part, or everything crumbles. But before we jump into this episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of it, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now, we have seen people starting to choose sides. The last thing we seen was Wyatt. He got killed, and Ruth, she's out for vengeance. But we also know that Javi is working directly with Marty and Wendy with Shaw Pharmaceuticals. So let's see how this plays out. This is episode 8 of Ozarks. Of course, you know we always have to start off with our 4 signs. We have a urinal, we have a hoodie, we have a bobcat, and it looks like a highway / crossroad. You see the road, how it crosses over here. So we can either say it's a highway or a crossroad. And you know I'm gonna point them out to you throughout the episode. The first thing we start off with is Ruth driving away, and you know she was crying and upset because she wanted to know who killed her cousin Wyatt. So now she's thinking back of her and Wyatt. They up there drinking, smoking a little bit. They got some money, so they were making future plans of what they were going to do with it. Building a big house, having a roundabout driveway, a swimming pool. You know, just thinking back of all the good times she had with her cousin Wyatt. And y'all know I call Wyatt her brother because that's how close they were. Back at the Byrde house, Marty gets a call from Javi. He's basically telling Marty, I need you to go clean up the Snell's house, get rid of Darlene's body, Wyatt's body, and then I need you to get up to Chicago because we need to have a meeting with the pharmaceutical company at Shaw, and you know, Claire's in charge of that. Now, Marty is telling Wendy about this, and we know that Ruth, she is looking for vengeance on Javi, but Marty doesn't want to give up Javi because he wants to protect his family. Now, Wendy, you know, she's never been on the side or really wanted to work with Ruth at all. So she's always going against Ruth. It's like, let's protect ourselves. And Marty's like, I'm trying to protect everybody because he is the one that actually brought Ruth into this game. Now, we know how Wendy can get. Wendy really messes up a lot that's going on in the Byrde family. Marty does one thing and she completely goes left with it. Now she's saying if Javi dies, then we're going to be in it. And Marty's like, he's not going to die because Marty's going to do everything he can to protect everyone. You know, Wendy, she really only thinks about herself and her kids, which a mother normally does. But in this case, Marty's trying to keep it all together. And we know Jonah went back to the motel because he's upset with the family anyway. You remember he was doing the books for Darlene. Yeah. So Jonah, he kind of chose his side, even though he's a Byrde at heart. Now, if you notice, this episode has a little hip hop theme to it because Ruth and Wyatt, they were on the roof. They were talking about albums and songs that they liked on it. And we hear her listening to Nas while she's driving. But she's about to go to the motel because she wants answers from Charlotte and Jonah because they always know what's going on in the Byrde family, even though they're not supposed to tell what's going on. Yeah, she knows she can get some answers out of these two. Now, when she gets there, she wants answers and she wants them right now because she wants to get rid of whoever killed her cousin. Now, Jonah, they all know it was Javi, but they don't want to give up that information because they know Javi is a very dangerous man. So Jonah says, I don't want you to get hurt. Charlotte, on the other hand, you know, she used to mess with Wyatt. So she's like, look, he's going to Chicago. My parents have a meeting at Shaw Pharmaceuticals. You can get him there. Ruth goes into the back room, gets some money out of the safe because she's about to drive to Chicago. Now, Jonah, he comes to his senses and he gets a picture of Javi from his graduation photo. And now she knows what Javi looks like. Now, if I'm Jonah, I'm asking, hey, what's the combination to that safe in case you go to Chicago and don't make it back so I can go ahead and get some of that money up out of there. And if y'all didn't know, the ride from the Ozarks to Chicago is about 7.5 hours. Getting gas is going to be an 8-hour ride. Sheesh, forget that. Now, Wendy, I told you she always goes completely left from what Marty has going on. She shows up to talk to Ruth. And basically what she's trying to do is keep Javi alive because she knows that the whole family will be put in danger by the cartel. So she tells Ruth, oh, Javi's leaving. He'll be gone for about 3 months. Ruth is hearing this and she's seeing right through it because she just got the information between her and Javi meeting up tomorrow in Chicago. So Ruth, she's listening to it. She's like, okay, Wendy. But when she drives off, you lying bee. Javi's checking into a hotel in Chicago. They talking about $1,300 a night. I said, okay, that ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? Where's the cheaper rooms at? But Marty gives him a call because he was supposed to clean up the Snell's residence. The only problem is when Marty gets there, it's full of police. So he calls Javi and he's like, hey, I can't go in there. There's nothing I can do. So Javi's a little bit upset because he needs this cleaned up. So there won't be any speculations or anybody starting to try to find out who committed this murder. We see Ruth on the road. She gets a phone call from Marty, declines it. We see her take license plates off of another vehicle, puts it on her truck just in case anybody sees her. The license plates won't come back to her. But she also stops by Frank Jr.'s spot and she picks up a gun from him and tells him it's best that you don't know who took out Darlene, because you know that Frank had an issue with Darlene after she came in, you know what I'm saying, shot him where the sun don't shine, you know what I'm saying? So Ruth, she's in game time. It's game time now. Frank told her how easy it is to just walk up on somebody and block. Well, Ruth, she got that hoodie on. Yeah, she walks straight up to Javi and lets him have it broad daylight, middle of Chicago. Well, it turns out Ruth was just daydreaming. I told you that 7.5, 8-hour ride, it's a long way. So a lot of things are going to go in your mind. So she snaps out of that and she actually talks to Marty. Marty knows something is up and he's trying to talk Ruth out of whatever she's doing. And he's like, look, I just want to make sure that you're all right. Now, at this point, Ruth, she separated herself away from the Byrdes because now it's family business. Whatever Marty has going on, she doesn't care about it. All she wants to do is get the person that killed Wyatt. Now we see Javi calling his mom. And what he's doing is telling her, look, mom, I'm taking over the organization from your brother Navarro, and I'm about to do something he couldn't do. Now you remember, he is Navarro's nephew. Navarro was in the feds. So he's talking to his mother. And she is, I think her name was Camelia. She is Navarro's sister. What Javi is trying to do is take this whole organization to another level. You remember, he's the one that got an education, a business degree. So what he's trying to do is change it from just being a drug cartel. They do have the towel company that made a pretty penny, but he wants to start modernizing it and start implementing some of their drug money into legitimate, bigger businesses. Ruth is in Chicago. We know she was daydreaming about walking up on Javi and ending it. Well, right now she's doing some reconnaissance and she's surveying the area. Where would be the best place for me to look around and wait on this Javi character to actually show up so I can go ahead and end him? Now she calls the last member of her family that she can actually talk to, and that's 3. Now he knows that Ruth is out here looking for whoever got their brother / her cousin. But 3 is saying just come home. He doesn't want anything to happen to her because you got to remember, everyone is gone. The only person he has left is Ruth. And you remember it was just Ruth and 3 together because Wyatt went to go live with Darlene. Now you could tell that she has a little crackle in her voice because she knows she might not be coming back if she actually goes through with killing Javi. She just tells him I love him and she hangs up the phone. Ruth has another flashback and it's when they were younger. Now we hear her dad yelling at her mom. So she goes on the roof and she sleeps up there in the sleeping bag next to Wyatt. And this is why I consider them brother and sister, even though they're cousins, because they're close. But all she can do is think of all the good times she had with Wyatt. You remember in the opening scene, they were on top of the roof. Now this goes back. This is always where they've been hanging out at, on top of the roof, to get away from everything that's going on inside of the trailer. Now that night, Ruth is at a little diner, and when she gets up, she's listening to some Nas. She runs into Killer Mike, and he listens to her song. He's like, oh, okay, cool. And she asked him, what do you think? Nas would trade that song to get rid of everything that he had to go through, all of his stress and all the pressure he had growing up? And Killer Mike breaks it down and tells her he was in Queens, but in his projects, you can look over and see Manhattan. You see what I'm saying? So even though you were going through this struggle, it was a gift and a curse, basically saying you can see beautiful Manhattan from the projects in Queens. It's so close, but yet so far. So if you got to ask that question of would he get rid of something to get something else, then you already know the answer. Basically what that means is you got to go through things to get to where you're at. Everything that you go through makes you who you are. That's just the simple terms of what Killer Mike was talking about. The first sign of the evening, the Bobcats. You remember the reason that this is popping up is because this whole episode she's having flashbacks of, everything that happened before we are now. And she's the one that let the Bobcats go, and she put her uncle inside of the cage. Wendy and Marty, they show up to Chicago for the meeting. And of course, Ruth, she's sitting right there watching. Now, this is the same spot that the Cougars walked by, but she was just hallucinating. Now, in the meeting, we have Claire here. We have our boy Javi and the Byrdes. What he wants to do, I told you guys earlier, he wants to take the cartel's money and invest it. He actually wants some stock options within Shaw Pharmaceuticals. He's saying in 5 years, you cut us 20% slack, you give us some stock options. Now, the reason that this is not going to work is because even if you put it in Javi's mom's name, her brother is part of the cartel. The feds know Javi runs the cartel now. So stock options being in the cartel's name, stockholders aren't going to do that. But Javi is right about this. And that's where the business degree comes into play. As long as it's making money, people don't care. They won't be in an outrage until something gets exposed or they start losing money. Also, Javi told Marty to bring the financials of everything that was going on with the cartel. And what he's saying is, oh yeah, everything that was in my uncle's kids' names, go ahead and put that in my mom's names too. Now, Marty promised Navarro that he's going to look out for the organization. What Javi is trying to do is take all the power away from his uncle and money and put it in his mom's name so he can have total control. But Marty is more loyal to Navarro and he's like, hey, you can't do that. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a little hold up in that. After the meeting, we see Ruth. She's outside and she's waiting on Javi. But when he comes outside, he actually hops into a car where he has a personal driver. And Ruth, she freezes up. Well, I won't say she freezes up. She actually comes to her senses and she realizes doing that right here. Oh yeah, I'm not making it anywhere. I'm gonna get caught. Now Marty calls her and he's like, what are you doing? Just go home. Get out of Chicago. It's gonna be all right. Calm down. What Ruth does say is, Wendy lied to me and I want to handle this. But Marty knows you're not going to do anything but bring more drama, more eyes onto everything we're doing, and it's all going to crumble. Ruth, she still wants her revenge. After this, Ruth was told to go home by our boy Marty, but she doesn't. She starts telling them. She's following them around. They're looking at offices to start new businesses. They're looking at a house to move into. And we also hear her make a phone call to Wyatt's phone. Even though Wyatt is dead, she's telling them they're living the life that we're supposed to. You remember they were talking about building a big house, building a swimming pool, living that rich people life because they got money, but they had to wait for the Byrdes to do whatever they had to do in order for them to be able to do what they can do. Ruth gets to daydreaming again. She's thinking about walking up on Marty and Wendy and laying them down also. Come on, Ruth. Javi mentioned his old professor that always thought of him as lesser than all of the other students. Well, he actually has a meeting with him today discussing him making a donation to the school. And he's saying, my family, we had a tile business, recession proof, because no matter what, people going to redo their house. They're going to redo everything. It doesn't matter. We just seen that with the pandemic. People did not care. But now he's sitting here, and since he's successful, the professor has changed his whole tune, talking about, oh, my bad. I didn't notice all that in you. That charisma. You were actually a social person. That's my bad. Because he wants to make some money off of Javi. Now, Javi says we're invested into a pharmaceutical company, the gaming business, hotels. We're expanding. So I'd like to make a donation to the school. The professor, he's hearing all of this. He's like, all right, let me use the washroom. Sign number 2, the commode. Now, Javi goes into the bathroom with his professor and he's saying, how about I make a $2 million donation to the school and you put my name on the school? Or I whoop your ass and I donate the money anonymously like we were originally going to do. He's like, why would I do that? And Javi just punched him, started whooping his ass, flushing the commode on him. Dang, I would have took that $2 million and put his name on the building. Forget that. I'm not putting my head in no toilet and catching an ass whooping for an anonymous donation. No. How you gonna go to work on Monday talking about, yeah, man, I got a donation though? It's over with. Sign number 3, the hoodie. Now, if you notice, this was actually sign number 1. She wore this hoodie throughout the whole episode, but she sticks out here, and that's where we're going to put it at. She wore it into a fancy restaurant. She pops up on Wendy and Marty and also Claire, and she's like, I want to go to the office right now. I want y'all to get Javi on the phone, bring him to the office, because she wants revenge. They all hop in the truck. They got that music playing. Ruth in the back with that thing cocked, and they get to the office. And now Claire wants information. She wants to know what's going on. And Ruth breaks it down. She says, oh, you don't know who you're in business with? And now She knows all of the dirt behind everything. Because even Wendy was like, Javi killed her cousin. And all Ruth wants him to do is call Javi up here right now and let's make it happen. Wendy gets on the phone and calls Javi, and how she's getting him to come up here. Oh, those stock options. Yeah, we're going to get some champagne. We're ready. We just need you to come up here and sign a few things. So, of course, Javi, he just went to the bathroom, whooped some ass, and now he's hearing champagne, stock options. Let me head up to this office. As soon as Javi walks in, no questions. Ruth comes out the back, lays him down. Look at Marty. He got his hands on his hip. Wendy got her arms crossed. You should have known this meeting. It ain't even no paperwork on the table, Javi. Come on now. You should have seen this from a mile away. But Ruth did what she was supposed to do, and then she just walks on out of there. Now you can see she's upset. Yeah, it feels good to get that revenge, but also you just murked somebody. You got to deal with that. You don't know what Marty and Wendy are going to do, let alone Claire in the Shaw Pharmaceuticals. Because I'm sure there's cameras that show him coming in, doesn't show him leaving. People are going to start wondering where he is. I mean, he is in charge of the cartel, so not too many people are going to worry about him. But still, it's a lot on her plate now. There you go, episode 8 of season 4 of Ozarks, technically episode 1 of part 2. But you see, Javi is gone. I want to know, how do you think this is going to play out for everybody moving forward with Javi out of the picture and Navarro behind bars? Who's going to run the organization? It looks like it might be time for Marty to step up. Let me know what you guys think. I'm MoedotJ. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go back. I do have part 1, episode 1 through 7, all recaps, and we will be doing 1 episode a day of Ozarks season 4, part 2. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jamie on the beat, boy.